welcome to Jamie TV. This will be the third and final installment of my simple slap bass tutorial trilogy. That was hard to say, because all the best films come in threes, right? Thank you, George. Anyway, beyond this lesson, I want to move on to talking about some other areas of bass playing and doing some gear demos and stuff. But I just wanted to do one more slap lesson because I've done 1 over E7, 1 over A7. So I thought, now if I do 1 over B7, then I've given you 3 slap riffs that you could use to play over a simple 3-chord trick type song. And you know, we certainly have to play over plenty of those. But also, choosing B7 gives me an opportunity to show you how we would get into a slap riff when there's no obvious open note to bounce off. And also, it's just me. I can't help, when I've got a riff, I can't help but want to try and turn it into something. So I've tried to turn it into a piece of music that you could maybe learn all the way through and use as a practice model. If you'd like to get the backing track that you heard in the intro to this video, so that you can play over that, then details of how to sign up to my Patreon account are down below the video and you can download it there. So let's have a look at slap in B7. Alright, let's start breaking down this riff with a slow play through. Okay, now can I just say, first of all, that last run there, okay, that was a slow play through, but at the beginning of the video you will have seen me play through at speed, and to some people it might have appeared to be a bit of a monster run. In other words, it might be quite hard, but you see, I don't know who's watching, right? I don't know if you're Billy Sheehan or if you're a total new beginner, so you'll have to forgive me on that. If it is a little tricky, and I promise you it's not like a Jedi skills level run, I promise. Maybe like cheeky ninja level perhaps, but I do have an alternate run that you can put in if it is a bit tricky for you. Another thing that you'll have to forgive me on is I really want to get this video done and get it out there, but we're having a bit of a heat wave in the UK at the moment. You know, we usually get one about every 20 years, and it's boiling hot for half a day, and that's kind of about it. Usually it's pretty grey, and that's how I like it, because it is red hot in the studio today. So if I sit here sweating profusely, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to see past that. Okay, so what was I on about? Yes, a bass riff over B7. Okay, now the problem with playing over B7 is that there is no obvious open note to bounce off. We could bounce off the E. It's kind of the 4th of the scale, so it wouldn't be the end of the world, but when I'm working out a bass riff, particularly a slap riff, I like to feature the notes of the chord first and foremost, really, especially as a starting note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my first finger here at fret 7, stupid hippie, fret 5, it's all going wrong already, fret 5 of the E string, and that is the 7th of the scale. Okay, quickly through the notes of the B7 chord, we have the root of B at fret 7, we have the major 3rd at fret 6 of the A string, and at fret 9 we have the 5th of the chord, and the flat 7 note, the one that makes the chord just sound the way that it does, flat 7 at fret 7 of the D. Right, now I'm starting on a note an octave below that one, so I've got my first finger there, right, and then I bring my thumb down nice and firmly, no pissy panting about, and where I'm aiming for is kind of between the last couple of frets of the fretboard there, right at the bottom of the fretboard, and the thumb is coming down firmly and it bounces away as soon as it hits the string. But the technique is not to come too far back because we're going to need it again in just a moment. So try and kind of hit firmly and not move too far away when you pull it away. I think I said that right. Okay, so like this. And then we're going to hammer the third finger down nice and firmly onto the root note of the chord at fret 7 of the E string. Then my thumb comes down again, which for some reason I've put all the way over here while I'm demonstrating this, and I'm saying not to come away too far. Stupid hippie. Right, so the thumb comes down again, but this time it stays against the string to create a dead note. Now, here's my first little cheeky move during this riff. My next note is going to be here at fret 7 of the D, and is of course an octave of this low 7 note that we just played. Flat 7 note that we just played. I better get it right, because you know what YouTube's like. There'll always be somebody who has to, you said, small penis. Anyway, right, so it's hot in here, so I don't know what I'm saying. You'll have to forgive me. So what I'm doing is I'm letting my third finger have a lie down right across fret 7 and press down the side of it, and I suppose I'm kind of barring in a way, if you like, although I'm only playing one note at a time. So the third finger lies down over there, and I put my first finger under the D string, pull it away from the fretboard, or pull it up and let it slap back against the string. Let the string slap back against the frets. My God. Now, I'm still leaving my finger laying across the frets because I now want a dead note on the G string. So all I'm doing is I'm just leaving it there so it's deadening that G string, and then I just kind of pop it in the same fashion as I did on the D string. That's better. And get a nice dead note, which just kind of fills in the gap before this next note, which is at fret 6 of the A string. Now here I'm using my first finger. Got my first finger to fret 6 of the A, which is the 3rd of the chord, and I bring my thumb down nice and firmly again between the top couple of frets. Obviously thumping any other string but the low E on a 4 string, it takes a little bit more skill and accuracy. Obviously it's much easier to hit the low E, but the A string, we're hitting it in exactly the same fashion. And my next note is going to be the 4th of the scale at fret 7 of the A. Now, typically, when playing this note after this note, I would just bring my second finger down here. Now I'm very conscious that my hand's going to need to be in this position in a moment, and I have very small hands, so I have to be very careful with my positioning, because I just don't have the stretch to compensate for bad finger technique. So I'm on this note at fret 6 on the A, and I'm sliding up to 7. So I'm just pushing my finger over that fret and thump it again. Now my hand's in position for me to pop this note at fret 9 on the G. And then I'm going to do a very, very common move. This is in loads and loads of slap stuff. 4 notes like this. And the way that this is done is I bring my hand away from the strings, I thump that open A, then what do? Yes, I hammer down to fret 7 with my first finger. Then I bring my thumb down. Yes, I do. That's what I do. Okay, I bring my thumb down and do a dead note there. And then I pop fret 9 on the G string again. So far we have Now this little group of 4 notes like this, like I said, this is very commonly used in slap riffs, and it may be a very useful thing to practice. If you're new to slap, just take that little grouping of notes, try and play it properly, unlike me, and use it as a little practice thing. And to make it more interesting, you can move it up and down the scale, up and down the fretboard. Right, okay, now next bit. I'm sliding up the A string with my second finger, and I'm just kind of grabbing onto that A string from a kind of a non-specific place, just wherever my hand happens to be. And I kind of, what do? I've no idea what I do. Yeah, I used the wrong finger there. Stupid hippie. It's very warm in here. Right, so I grab hold of the A just from wherever I happen to be, and I hit the string with my thumb and slide to fret 14. I don't hit that string again, I'll let the slide make the note. So it has to be a nice firm slide, so definitely no pissy panting about here. Slide up and then get the third finger to fret 14 of the G string. So what I'm doing is I'm letting fret 14 of the A string, which is an octave of the root, so it's a B. I'm letting that sustain while I hit fret 14 of the G, which is the flat 7 note again. So we're sort of just playing a little part chord. Then I hit the root note again. So how am I doing that? I'm sliding in, letting the slide make the note at fret 14 on the A, and when I play that there, the flat 7 note at 14 on the G, I am kind of popping it, but I think I'm being a little bit more gentle. Or perhaps I'm not. But what I'm wanting out of this is, I'm wanting sort of to put a nice little melodic bit in. A little grouping of harmony notes, because slap is very, very attacking. It's very staccato, very punchy, and that's what we like about it. But I think it's nice to break it up here and there with a few more little melodic harmony type things. I described that well. Because a lot of slap playing, right, is made up of octaves, you know. It's a lot of octaves and fifths, and yeah, it's nice to break it up with something a bit more melodic, right? So what I'm doing is I'm putting in this part chord here, root, flat 7, root. Right, when I hit the root again, I then slide to fret 12. So I've just hit another octave of the flat 7, and I slide down to the lower octave of the flat 7, and then I put this harmony note in, again letting these two notes ring together, at fret 11 of the G. And that note is, what is that note? That's the fifth. Okay, so there we've got a flat 7 and a fifth, and it's a nice pleasing little harmony. Alright, now the next thing is to repeat the first half of the riff, but before we do that, we slide down. And I get asked about slides a lot, really, and it used to be kind of surprising to me when I first started teaching, because I always thought of slides as just being, you know, just some kind of passing, non-specific, not very technical thing to do. But you'd be surprised when people ask me about it. And all I'm doing here, right, is I'm just, again, I'm putting my fingers, I think, not one finger, I'm putting all my fingers, so I'm applying plenty of pressure I'm just kind of putting my hand onto the E string, non-specific place, hit the E string with the thumb and just slide it down. You know, just until I'm kind of in position to start the riff over. So we played that part of the riff again, and then we've got the ninja level bass run, right? So all we're doing is, I've got my first finger on the root of B on the E string, thumb that and hammer on to fret 9. Then I'm barring my finger across, so I'm letting my finger lie down again, so that I'm also pressing down on the A string, and I do exactly the same thing on the A string. So it's just fret 7 to 9, fret 7 to 9. Then on the A string I do a pull off as well. Now if you have any problem at all getting some volume out of that A string when you pull your finger away, pull it to the side just a tiny bit before you let go, and just adding that extra little bit of tension there will make that note produce more volume. And then what do I do? Yes, so then I'm hammering again onto fret 9 of the E string. See, I forgot to say that, I've kind of tried to keep that B note of fret 7 on the E ringing out through the riff. Right, so that's still got some vibration to it, so that when you hit that string you're going to get more volume out of it. I've forgotten how to talk. And then I hit the A string again, fret 7, hammer onto 9 again. Same thing on the D string. Now what I'm doing is my first finger is kind of, it's barring, because I'm going to use every note here at fret 7 on every string. I'm kind of barring down, but my finger's not really quite big enough to leave in position and hold everything down, so it's kind of slowly creeping across. Yeah, so it's slowly creeping across, right? So right, so I've hit at fret 7 of the D, I've hammered onto 9 of the D. Then I'm popping, this is the first note in this run that I'm popping, fret 7 of the G. Really having some difficulty speaking today. Fret 7 of the G, pop that, hammer on to 8 and pull off. And then the last note of the run is fret 9 of the D. There's two ways you can do this. You can either hammer this note on, which I think is what I did in the video at the beginning, in the playthrough at the beginning of the video, or you can just bring your finger down to there and hit it with the thumb. Right, now if you have any difficulty playing this run, I suggest that I'm going to show you an alternative that you can use in a moment, but what I suggest for this run is sticking at it and playing it over and over and over again, because when I first came up with this idea for this run, I couldn't play it at all. You should have heard me. It was like, it sounded like some fool hitting the bass with bricks, and it was just horrendous. But I just kept playing it over and over and over again. I put a metronome on and I found the speed that I could play it at more or less all the time without screwing up, and played it over and over. And when I improved a little bit, I speeded it up and speeded it up, and now I can play it at a reasonable speed, but I'm still practicing it, because really that's how we get better. We never really stop practicing. Alright, so for those of you who do find the run a little bit tricky to play, here's my suggestion of an alternative that you can put in for now. Or you could also use it as an alternative, like if you're if you go to my Patreon account and sign up and download the backing track for this, and you're playing along to that, the backing track just kind of keeps looping round the 3-chord progression a few times through, so you can kind of keep on jamming the riffs over the backing track. So what you could do is each time you come to the B7, you could play something slightly different. So one time play the run, another time play this thing that I'm going to actually eventually get on with showing you in a moment, you know, another time a little variation of what I've shown you, or just throw your own thing in. So here's what I'm suggesting, and it's another kind of it's another kind of run, but an easier one, right? So we'd be coming off this run, right? From there, stick your 3rd finger on fret 9 of your D, hit it with the thumb, and slide to fret 11. And there, all you're doing is sliding from the root to the 2nd of the chord. Root to the 2nd of the scale, I think I should say. And then we grab fret 9 of the G, which is the 4th, pop that one, 3rd finger down to fret 11 of the G, hang on, am I playing that right? Sometimes when you break things down, you're playing it solo, you're like, hang on a minute, am I playing that right? Yeah, okay, yeah. So slide 9 to 11 on the D, pop the 9 on the G string, then pop 11 on the G and slide it to 13. And there we're sliding the 5th to the 6th. And you'll notice how nice that 6 sounds when you get into it. And if you play with the backing track, it will kind of show that up. It'll show that up, right? Because you'll be playing it over a chord. And you know, a lot of people don't necessarily realize, but it's not the scale that you're using that makes something sound happy or miserable, or, you know, nasty or sweet. It's the chord that you're playing over. It's the combination of the two things. So right, it's a really kind of nice little melody note there. The 6 is always kind of a nice passive sounding note. So as we hit that 6, you can leave it there. You could just sustain that to the end of the bar, stick some vibrato on it, and then if you want to add a little more, what you could do is that little part chord that we played earlier with the B and the flat 7, you could stick that on there. And if you want to go a step even further than that, you could add in the major 3rd there. And if you do that, you'll be playing all the notes of the B7 chord apart from the 5th. And the 5th really doesn't bring anything very much kind of melodic to the structure of the chord anyway. It's a power note. It makes it sound really strong, but it doesn't add anything sort of melody-wise. Melody-wise? Harmony-wise. Doesn't sound as sweet. Whatever, however you want to define it, okay? Just my opinion. There'll be people typing. Right, so that would go like this. Or maybe. didn't hit that third very hard there. I pissy panted about. There I hit the wrong string. Maybe it'd be better finger picked actually, more of a kind of a... I'm not making this up as I go along, I promise. Something like that could work. Okay, so there's an alternative for you anyway. Thank you very much for watching. I hope the video was okay for you, and if it was of any use to you at all, then please do remember to give me the old thumb up, because it really helps the channel. And if you'd like to be notified of further content like this from me, then please do consider subscribing and dinging my bell, because I will be uploading plenty more of this kind of content. If you didn't like the video, then please do feel free to, give me the thumb down business if that makes you feel good about yourself. But what I prefer over that is, if there was something about the video that you didn't like, then why not tell me? Why not, drop me a comment and tell me what you disliked about it. Or you can private message me if you like. My email address is down below, because I'm always looking to improve and become a better version of myself. So let me know what was poor about it so that I can improve. Alternatively, if you'd like to drop me a comment telling me how wonderful and amazing I am, that's great too. If I can be of any help to anyone, if anyone would like to contact me at my email address, or message me on any of my social media platforms, all the links are down below. Then, if there was something about the video that you have a question about, something you're not sure about, or any question about bass playing or music in general, then contact me. I am here to help. If you'd like to help the channel at all, there's a paypal.me address down there, ME address, and you could also consider signing up for my Patreon account, where you can download the tabs for all the bass lines that I'm playing in these videos and the backing tracks I'm using too. So, until next time, please be good people, be good to each other, and when you play that bass, play it like you mean it, and don't pissy pants about. See you later.